Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Radha 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 Radhe Jai Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jai Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Radhe. Jai Prabhupada 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 Jai Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jaya Om Vishnupada Paramhamsa Privaracharya Asastasara Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Jaya Om Vishnupada Paramhamsa Privaracharya Asastasara Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj ki jai. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Shri Shri Radharadhanath ki jai. Shriman Mahaprabhu ki jai. Giriraj Govardhan ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Namo Vishnupada. Sai Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Chinamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Charine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatari Satarine. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So today we are speaking from the fourth canto, chapter 8, text 26. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So the verse goes as follows. Aho teja kshatriyana sorry. Anyone can tell me the meter for this? Aho teja kshatriyanam manabhangam amrishyatam balopi ayam ridadhate yat samatur ashadvachaha aho teja kshatriyana manabhangam amrishyatam balopi ayam ridadate yat samatur asadvachaha aho teja kshatriyanam manobhangam amrishyatam balopi ayam ridadate yam shamatur asadvachaha. You may repeat. Say. Okay, Aho teja kshatriyanam manobhangam amrishitam kalopi ayam ridadate yat samatur asadvachaha. Aho teja kshatriyanam manobhangam amrishatam kalopi ayam ridadate yad shamatur asadvachaha. So let's do the word for word. Aho. Oh, how surprising it is. Teja, power. Kshatriyanam, of the Kshatriyas. Manabhangam, hurting the prestige. Amrishyatam, unable to tolerate. Balaha, only a child. Api, although. Ayam, this. Rida, at heart. Date, has taken. Yet, that which. Samutaha, of the stepmother. Asat, unpalatable. Vachaha, words. So translation, oh how wonderful are the powerful Kshatriyas. They cannot tolerate even a slight infringement upon their prestige. Just imagine, the boy is only a small child, yet harsh words from his stepmother proved unbearable to him. You may repeat. How wonderful are the powerful Kshatriyas. They cannot tolerate even a slight infringement upon their prestige. Just imagine, this boy is only a small child, yet harsh words from his stepmother proved unbearable to him. So there's a short purport. We'll read that and try to say something. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The qualifications of a Kshatriya are described in Bhagavad Gita. Two important qualifications are to have a sense of prestige and not to flee from battle. It appears that Kshatriya blood within the body of Dhruva Maharaj was naturally very active. If the Brahmanical, Kshatriya and Vaishya culture is maintained in a family, naturally the sons and grandsons inherit the spirit of the particular class. Therefore, according to the Vedic system, the samskara or reformatory system is maintained very rigidly. If one fails to observe the reformatory measures current in the family, one is immediately degraded to a lower standard of life. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Tadati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So, dear devotees, we see in this verse and purport, the Kshatriya nature of Dhruva Maharaj is being explained and is coming out. So, we'll just read the verse again. How wonderful are the powerful Kshatriyas! They cannot tolerate even a slight infringement upon their prestige. Just imagine, this boy is only a small child, yet harsh words from his stepmother proved unbearable to him. So we see that even in Krishna's pastimes, Krishna was born of Kshatriya parents, Vasudeva and Devaki. And it has been explained here that, the Kshatriya blood is within the descendants of the Kshatriyas. So, like this, Krishna was also a Kshatriya, and he fought in many battles. And at one time, he ran away from the battle when he was fighting with Jarasandha, right? And but this was for a reason, and that reason was because his pure devotee, Rukmini, she was calling out for Krishna, and therefore he had to leave the battle and go and tend to her. So this may seem controversial, but because Krishna is very inclined to his pure devotees, he will do anything for them, and that's when he is called Rancho, right? Because he ran away from the battle, so he's called Rancho in that regard. And but we know Krishna is Bhakta Vatsal, that he will do anything for his devotees, and he is inclined towards his devotees in that way. So this kidnapping then he kidnapped Rukmini and took her away. And this was a type of marriage, because in the Kshatriya lineage, this is recommended to, kidnap a girl and marry her. So this is there, and this is what Krishna did. He kidnapped Rukmini, and then a battle ensued between Shishupal and Krishna. So in this way, we see that the Kshatriya nature of Krishna is there, wherein he kidnapped Rukmini and took her away. And then we see also in the Mahabharats that there's the Kshatriya nature of Yudhisthira comes forth in that when he was challenged to a game of dice by Duryodhana, then, he could not refuse. And although he knew he would be cheated because Sakuni was there, and, Sakuni always cheated at the game of dice, but he couldn't resist. He couldn't resist it. He just, he had to face this challenge as a Kshatriya. So Yudhisthira faced this challenge, and we know what happened after that, right? He lost his kingdom and he was banished to the forest. But this Kshatriya nature is in his blood, that he could not resist this challenge, and he took on this challenge of the game of dice, like this. And then we see another personality in the Mahabharats, that Draupadi was born of Kshatriya parents, right? And but her nature was different. She very easily forgave her offenders, and on the battlefield when Ashwatthama was being attacked by Arjuna, and he asked Draupadi, what should I do? I shall slay his head, and you can take his head and stand on it and take a bath on his head. So this is basically the vow that Draupadi took, but she forgave her offender, who is Ashwatthama, because he's the son of a Brahmana. She forgave him, and she said that I don't want his mother to suffer as much as I did when I lost my sons, so please release him. So we see that her kind nature came forth. Although she's born from Kshatriya parents, right, Draupadi was very kind in this way. And even when she was being disrobed, right, she put her hands in the air, and she was holding onto her sari. Now this is a Kshatriya nature, is to defend yourself. But when she saw that she could not defend herself anymore, then she let go of her sari and put her two arms in the air and called out for Krishna. So Draupadi is one of them. And then also Arjuna fought very valiantly on the battlefield of Kurukshetra as a Kshatriya, right? And let's go now here in the purport. Prabhupada says that it appears that the Kshatriya blood within the body of Dhruva Maharaj was naturally very active. If the Brahmanical Kshatriya or Vaishya culture is maintained in a family, naturally the sons and grandsons inherit the spirit of the particular class. So we'll talk about the different classes in the Bhagavad Gita. There's a verse, Chaturvanyam Maya Shistam Guna Karma Vibhakashaha. So now this Brahmanical culture, right? We see in the Bhagavatam itself that Vyasadeva was a Brahmana, and in this way his son Sukadev also, was a Brahmana, in that he disseminated the knowledge of the Srimad Bhagavatam that he heard from his father Vyasadeva. So the culture of a Brahmana is to disseminate spiritual knowledge, and this is what Vyasadeva did, that he divided the Vedas, and eventually he presented Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the cream of all Vedic literatures. So in this way, his son Sukadev Goswami also took after him and sat on the bank of the Ganges and recited the whole of Srimad Bhagavatam to the sages of Naimisharanya, like this. So, and then we find that Sandipani Muni is also a Brahmana, and then his son or grandson Madhumangal, also became a Kshatriya, at least a Brahmana in this way, and he was a friend of Krishna, and he would always chant different mantras like this. And when Krishna was lifting Govardhan hill, then Madhumangal says, Krishna, you're not holding up Govardhan hill. I'm holding up Govardhan hill by the powers of my mantras. So, I'm chanting my mantras, and thereby this hill is being held up. You are not holding it up with your little finger of your left hand. So in this way, we see the Brahmanical, aspects would actually come forth from the descendants of Brahmanas, like this. But we know that in this age of Kali Yuga, Prabhupada said there is no real Brahmanas or Kshatriyas even. All of us are Sudras, right? And therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give us a very easy method to go back to the spiritual world. Shri Radharanath ki jai, Shriman Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shri Giriraj Govardhan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yes, so I was saying that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give us, the Sudras of this age, a very easy process to go back home, back to Godhead, and that is to chant the holy names of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So in this way, we can make our life sublime, and we don't have any good qualifications, any good qualities actually. We don't have Brahmanical qualities, we don't have qualities of Kshatriya, we don't, the only qualities we have is of Sudra nature, right? And all are basically a working class, coming from the working class parents, basically. So, in this way, we have we have all bad qualities, and just by chanting of the holy names of Krishna, then these bad qualities can turn into good qualities, and we can derive all the good qualities of the demigods. So these names of Krishna are so powerful in this way. And then we see that the Vaishya community also, right? Nanda Maharaj was a Vaishya, and Krishna was being brought up by his parents, Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda, and in this way he would herd the cows. And so although Krishna did not belong to any of these castes or classes of people, he is transcendental to all of these, but still he showed us by example how to behave and how to carry out our duties, basically. So, he would go out and he would carry out his duty of herding the cows. And, sometimes he would be questioned by Mother Yashoda, why do you want to do this? Why do you want to go out and herd the cows? You are my my son, and you should stay with me at home, and at such a young age you want to go and herd the cows. And then he would say, no, mother, this is my dharma, and the dharma of the Vaishyas is to protect the cows and to protect the cows, so that it will bring prosperity to the whole world. So in this way, he would go and he would protect the cows in the forest and graze the cows and like this. So we see that that this worship of the cow is so vital to our survival in this world. In that the dust that has been trampled by a cow is so auspicious. If we take that dust and put it on our heads, we actually derive so much of benefit from that. So it's like good as worshipping Krishna, the worshipping the cows. So also, let alone the medicinal value of the cow's urine and the cow dung. It has so much of medicinal properties that when we consume the urine of the cow, then it will heal whatever disease that's in the body. And also the cow dung is basically used for fuel, and it's also used to I know when we were young, my mother used to smear cow dung in the yard. And this would keep the flies and the insects away. So in this way, we were small and we used to have like fun doing it. Take it and mix it into water, and then like just throw it onto the ground. And as kids, we used to have so much of fun doing this activity. So yes, so this cow dung also is very pure, and it is stated in the Vedas that the cow dung is, although the stool of the animal is considered, very dirty, right? But the cow dung is a stool of the cow, and it is very auspicious, and it has all antiseptic properties, like this. So and therefore it's used for cooking. It's used for in Vedic sacrifices. The cow dung is used. Right? Instead, today people of the modern age would kill her and eat her flesh. This is so barbaric, right? We see that because of this, there's so many wars going on, like the war between Russia and Ukraine, and now there's a war that's taking place between Turkey and Syria, and like this. So this is all because of the killing of the cows. Or like the cow is supposed to be our mother, but we are killing and eating her flesh. What is this? We need to protect her, protect the cows, and then there won't be any scarcity in the human civilization, and property will reign for all. In that, there'll be plenty of grains, there'll be plenty of rain, there'll be, Mother Bhumi, she will not withhold all her opulences that she has. She will bring it forth, right? And she will give us in abundance if we protect the cow like this. And the rain, Indra will shower us with rains because he's taking directions from Krishna. So he would shower us with pleasing rains, right? Not floods and tsunamis like this. So we see the consequences of not protecting the cow is this climatic change that we are having, right? The climatic changes, like global warming and solar storms. Before we didn't hear of solar storms. What is this? And now we're hearing of solar storms, profuse flooding, earthquakes, windstorms, tornadoes, like this. So, we also were affected like this not very long ago in February, March. We were affected by all these things. So, and there's more to come actually, because of the killing of the cows, like this. So we need to protect the cows in whichever way we can, in a small way by preaching. Firstly, we should take up this. Now the marathon is coming up, the Sankirtan December book marathon. So we should take advantage of this and go out and distribute books to the masses, and get them inclined towards the Vedic culture, so that they would at least stop killing the cows like this. So there's so many restaurants and places that propagate cow killing. So if we see that most people are becoming vegans, but they're not becoming devotees. So that also, if we preach to them, even they can remain vegans but become devotees. So this would be actually very nice, right? Because then they'll be eating Krishna Prasadam. Because eating, being a vegan and just eating food that's not, that's sattvic almost, right? Or without killing, is still sinful, because you're not offering it to Krishna. So unless we offer our food to Krishna, then only can we make progress in spiritually. So like this, we need to go out and distribute these books and preach to the best of our abilities. And yeah, so in the purport, Prabhupada says that therefore, according to the Vedic system, the samskar or the reformatory system is maintained very rigidly. If one fails to observe the reformatory measures, current in the family, one is immediately degraded to a lower standard of life. So our parents are basically coming from India, and who knows, they wear Brahminical, they wear Kshatriyas and Vaishyas and, like this. So, and some of them were actually Sudras because they came here to work on the sugarcane plantations, right? So, but we have different bloods in our bodies, right? So, in this way, we all are in this degraded age of Kali Yuga. We are all Sudras. So, therefore, this Sankirtan movement is very, very important for all people of this age of Kali Yuga, for all people, not only for the Indians, but for all races also. So therefore, to the best of our ability, it is the onus unto us to actually go out and preach, because Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that if we are born in Vedic culture, right, we need to go out and distribute the holy names. We need to distribute this Vedic culture because this is not only meant for the Indian population. No, it's meant for everyone, right? It's because all of us are part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all living entities. This is what Prabhupada has stated, right? And we are all meant to be servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So all of us, our innate nature is to be the servant of Krishna. And all of us, all living entities in this material world are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So therefore we need to go out there and not look on the bodily platform. Even when we're distributing books, right? We will say, oh, this person is a black person, he won't take a book. This person is a white person, he won't take a book. And we only look for those people who are Indian. No, this is the wrong mentality that book distributors have. We should actually preach to everyone, approach everyone, and give them a book. So when I'm distributing mostly, when I distribute, I try to approach everyone who comes on my path. Everybody, I try to induce them to take a book. So even, they may not have the money for it, but we distribute it anyway. So, because other people may give donations and they may not want a book, but they may give a donation, So in this way, it would cover up for the book that we gave out. So, dear devotees, it's very important that we actually engage in this activity and distribute these books profusely, so that all nationalities can come to our temple and all of them can become devotees of Krishna. So in this way, book distribution is so vital, because all of us have come to Krishna consciousness through a book of Srila Prabhupada's. And it was, talking for myself, I've been searching, right, and I've been reading different books by different authors, but none of it made sense until and unless I picked up Srila Prabhupada's book. And this book had made so much of sense to me that, I said, no, this is the way. This is the way, and, I'm going to follow Srila Prabhupada. So in this way, we find that many cases also, like our spiritual masters, they were also seeking for the absolute truth, but they were looking in the wrong places until and unless they came upon Srila Prabhupada's movement, and that is how they became devotees. And look at them now, how exalted these personalities are. So yes, so we should, just try to give out the holy names, even if a person hears the holy name once, his spiritual life has already begun, because the seed of bhakti is planted within his heart. And, just if he hears the Harinam again, the second time, then the seed will actually sprout like this, or he takes a book from the devotees, then his the seed of bhakti, the bhakti lata bij, the seed of devotion, will actually fructify in his heart. And so by constant hearing and chanting the holy names, this seed can actually, this creeper of devotional service can actually sprout and reach the lotus feet of Krishna. Like on Sunday, Smita Krishna Prabhu, he did a very nice demonstration, right, of planting a seed and how the seed grew. And I found this was very interesting that he actually did like a show and tell, so that this message gets across to people like this. So we may hear a class and we may forget what the speaker said in class, but just by this demonstration, then you actually remember it, and in this way your heart becomes inclined to take up to the process and to give this knowledge out as well. So, yeah, I'd like to stop here. In this way, we'll just read the verse again. Oh, how wonderful are the powerful Kshatriyas. They cannot tolerate even a slight infringement upon their prestige. Just imagine, this boy is only a child, yet harsh words from his stepmother proved unbearable to him. So we'll stop here. If anyone would like to contribute to this class, you're most welcome to do so. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Go Premanande Hari Hari Bol.